You are listening to the Culture Compute podcast, first recorded on December 14, 2024. I'm Sai Gattupalli, broadcasting from the Advanced Learning Technologies Lab at the University of Massachusetts Amherst. Hello! Generative AI tools such as ChatGPT are revolutionizing how students learn. But are they also making us metacognitively lazy? That's the question posed in a recent research paper published in the British Journal of Education Technology. Plenty more on that coming up, including how AI impacts motivation, self regulated learning, and performance, and what it all means for the future of education and cognition. Stay with us. Before diving into today's episode, I have two important announcements to share. First, I want to extend my heartfelt congratulations to all my students who took my college writing class at UMass Amherst. Your hard work, creativity, and growth have been inspiring to witness. I wish you the very best in your future writing endeavors. Remember, the skills you have honed will serve you far beyond the classroom. Secondly, I am delighted to announce that I have been awarded the Dr. Florence Sullivan Scholarship for the year 2024. This recognition holds special meaning as Dr. Sullivan, who passed away recently, profoundly shaped my understanding of how education and learning occur through her course titled The Theories of Learning. I had the privilege of taking her courses during my doctoral journey, and her teachings continue to influence my academic and professional path. This scholarship, rooted in supporting underrepresented students and promoting diversity, aligns with my own commitment to equitable education and advancing learning sciences. I am honored to carry forward her legacy. Now let's turn our focus to today's discussion. I am exploring a thought provoking research paper published in the British Journal of Education Technology in December 2024. It is titled Beware of Metacognitive Laziness: Effects of Generative Artificial Intelligence on Learning Motivation, Processes, and Performance, authored by Fan et al. This research investigates the emerging concerns around the use of generative AI, such as ChatGPT, in education, particularly its impact on students' learning motivation, self regulated learning processes, and performance outcomes. The authors introduced the critical concept of metacognitive laziness, which could hinder deep learning despite short term gains. This study involved 117 university students recruited from a randomized experiment. The participants, aged approximately 22 years on average, and were drawn from diverse academic disciplines. Notably, 70% of the participants were female, reflecting on a significant gender imbalance, as 30% were identified as male. All participants were college level students, and English was their second language. The experiment took place in a controlled lab environment to ensure accurate and reliable data collection. Some context and background. As educators and researchers, we are always at the forefront of understanding how AI integrates into learning environments. Generative AI offers immediate feedback, quick solutions, and high quality content generation. However, there is a growing concern. Are these tools fostering dependency and undermining learners' ability to self regulate and engage metacognitively? The authors conducted this randomized experimental study to explore that research question. They compared four learning support groups, and they are AI group, which consisted of students that used ChatGPT, in this case, ChatGPT, the 4 version. The second was the human expert group, which consisted of students that received feedback from professional academic writers. The third is called the checklist tool group, which consisted of students that utilized automated writing analytics tools. And the final is a control group that received no additional support. So, a total of 117 university students participated in the study. As English was their second language, the tasks were designed to assess their writing and revision abilities in academic English. The participants engaged in a two-stage writing task. First, drafting an essay, and then revising it with the assigned support. Researchers evaluated their intrinsic motivation, self regulated learning processes, and performance outcomes. And these evaluations offer fascinating insights into how these AI tools influence learning behaviors. Let me break down the results and implications across three research dimensions. 1. Motivation. Interestingly, the study found no significant difference in intrinsic motivation, which is the drive to engage in an activity because it is inherently interesting or enjoyable. They did not find any significant difference across all four groups. Despite receiving support, learners' enjoyment and perceived competence and effort remained similar. However, some descriptive trends revealed that the control group reported the lowest enjoyment and highest pressure because they received no external support. The checklist group showed slightly higher interest and reduced anxiety, suggesting that clear, structured tools can positively influence motivation. What could this mean? While generative AI tools such as ChatGPT undeniably enhance efficiency, I am left wondering about their impact on students' intrinsic motivation, that internal drive to learn from the joy of learning itself. Think about it. When students receive immediate answers or polished feedback, there is a less of that personal struggle, that aha moment when they figure out something out on their own. Is AI making things too easy to the point where students are no longer driven by curiosity or a challenge? As a researcher, I want to see both sides. From some learners, tools such as ChatGPT provide support where traditional methods really fall short. But for others, the convenience might strip away the opportunity to engage deeply, reflect, and grow. We need to ask, are we cultivating short term satisfaction at the cost of that long term love for learning? The next dimension is self regulated learning processes. So, here the authors observed significant differences in how learners engaged with the self regulated learning processes during their revision phase. The AI group, which relied heavily on the ChatGPT system for elaboration and organization, exhibited fewer metacognitive activities such as evaluation and monitoring. In contrast, the human expert group demonstrated richer transitions between revising, evaluating, and rereading materials, which is indicative of deeper metacognitive engagement. The checklist group emphasized evaluation processes due to the tool design and prompting based on a rubric. What could this mean? The concept of metacognitive laziness hits close to home. As an educator and a learning sciences researcher, I have often emphasized how critical planning, monitoring, and reflection are to successful learning. Yet, here we see some students offloading these cognitive tasks to ChatGPT. It is like having a GPS tell you every turn you reach your destination but learn nothing about the roads. This study reminds me of how important it is for students to struggle a little. That struggle is where learning really happens. When learners rely on AI for elaboration and organization without evaluating and revisiting their work, it is like building a house without a foundation. AI is a powerful tool, but it should not become a crutch. We need to ensure that learners use it with intention, balancing its strength with their own mental engagement. In episode 9 of the Culture Compute podcast, where I reviewed Mutlu Kukurova's work on hybrid intelligence, uh, it is the idea that both human intelligence and artificial intelligence work together in conjunction to benefit the broader narrative of hybrid intelligence. More on this in that episode. I'll put the link in the show notes. But ultimately, we need to ensure that learners use it with intention, balancing their strengths with their own mental engagement. And so I did a quick literature review and found that this work aligns with the theories of cognitive offloading, such as Risco and Gilbert from 2016 and cognitive disfluency by Alter et al. From 2007, which argue that Experiencing difficulty activates deeper reasoning. When learners depend on AI for quick answers, they are actually missing opportunities to engage in these critical processes. I will make the references available in the show notes. The third and the final dimension is the learning performance. So, in terms of the task performance, the AI group, which used the ChatGPT system to for assistance, demonstrated the highest essay score improvements, even surpassing the human expert group. However, there are no significant differences in knowledge gain or transfer among the groups. What does this mean? It could mean many things. Especially, I find the performance results both fascinating and worrying at the same time. Yes, the AI group achieved the highest essay improvements, surpassing even human experts. But here's the catch, their knowledge gain and transfer did not budge at all. It makes me think about how AI optimizes for outcome without nurturing understanding. And so, students may write stronger essays, but are they thinking deeply about the content? I have seen this in my own students. Sometimes they focus on producing good looking results for a rubric instead of developing critical thinking or self reflection. And that raises an essential question. Is performance becoming a proxy for learning? If we are not careful, we may create learners who excel at tasks but lack the skills to adapt and innovate and transfer knowledge beyond the immediate context. Additionally, this also raises a critical question. Are we prioritizing performance at the cost of learning? If learners rely on AI to generate really polished outputs, they are actually risking underdeveloping essential skills like critical thinking, metacognition, and self regulation. So, what does this mean? What are the implications for education? The authors offer valuable insights for educators, researchers, and policymakers, such as task design. They clearly state how educators must balance AI support with tasks that require active learning engagement. AI should scaffold learning, not just replace this metacognitive processes. The second is metacognitive scaffolding. Teachers can explicitly teach students how to interact with AI critically, emphasizing evaluation, reflection, and monitoring. In a previous episode with Dr. Tori Trust, I discussed this in detail. I will leave the link to the podcast episode in the show notes, where we discuss really new ways of ethically and responsibly using AI in ways that it supports metacognitive functions. And the third is AI literacy, which is also my area of research. Building AI literacy ensures students use generative tools ethically and effectively without just bypassing cognitive efforts. It is also a modern skill that everybody needs to possess. What does this mean again? As educators, we have a huge responsibility here. AI tools are not going anywhere, nor should they, but their role needs to be carefully considered. I believe the answer lies in metacognitive scaffolding. Imagine teachers using AI tools not as shortcuts, but as springboards for deeper learning. Students could be taught to ask, why am I choosing this AI suggestion? How does this align with my goals? And so on. We need to make reflection and evaluation a part of the learning process, not something students skip over. I also think building AI literacy is key because it is helping learners see these tools as partners, not replacements. AI should scaffold the journey, not short circuit it. If we get this right, I think we can create empowered learners who know how to use AI thoughtfully while keeping their own critical skills sharp. On to the future directions. The authors share three main points and call for further research into the long term effects of AI tools on self regulated learning and intrinsic motivation. This closely parallels the idea of techno solutionism, which is the idea that when Facebook initially launched, it was launched to connect people with friends and family. But over a decade after its launch, we see consequences such as people suffering from suicidal thoughts, anxiety and depression, and so on. So, the long term effects of AI tools are to be studied much further. Also, multitask and cross context experiments to validate these findings in diverse settings can also be pursued. Also, designing hybrid learning systems where humans and AI collaborate together to enhance rather than just diminishing learners' metacognitive skills can also be created. Looking ahead, I think the study leaves us with a critical challenge. How do we balance this huge potential, AI's immense potential, with its pitfalls? As a researcher and an educator, I see this as an opportunity to design hybrid systems where AI doesn't diminish learning but amplifies it. Imagine AI tools that prompt students to monitor their progress, challenge their thinking, and reflect on their work, not just provide answers. I also think we need to explore the long term effects of AI in diverse real world learning environments. Will learners build better habits over time, or will dependency grow? Ultimately, it is up to you and me as educators, researchers, and policymakers who are listening to this episode to ensure AI tools don't replace the hard, messy, and deeply human process of learning. Instead, they should encourage it. As we wrap up today's episode, the concept of metacognitive laziness serves as a timely reminder. While generative AI can boost performance, true learning requires effortful engagement. It is about striking that balance where learners actively think, reflect, and grow alongside their AI companions. Today's episode was produced, edited, and fact checked by me, Sai Gattupalli, and contains original music by Liboria Conti. If today's discussion sparked any thoughts or questions, I would like to hear from you. You can reach me at my email, it's in the show notes. I will also add all the references in the description. Until next time, remember, in the world of AI and education, the most powerful intelligence remains human intelligence. Keep questioning, keep learning, and keep computing culture.